Hi everyone. Number 2, here we go. Determining a parabola from a table of values. So it's sometimes hard to tell whether it's a parabola or it's a cubic or what it is, but today we're just dealing with parabolas. You really need to have watched the previous video or already know this table. This table comes from any parabola, anywhere, anytime we talk about the general form of a parabola. If I substitute 0, 1 and 2, I'll get these details here, which is the first difference and second difference. So let's apply that to this table over here. So if I want to get the first difference, so I can relate it to this over here, I go 5 take 3. Ken, if you want to say how far is it from 3 to 5, and it's going up 2, so that's a positive 2. How far is it from 5 to 5? It's gone up by 0. I can go 5 take 5 is 0, that's why it's a table of differences, you're subtracting. Differences, 3 take 5 is minus 2. How far did I go from 5 to 3? This time I went down 2. How far did I go from 3 to minus 1? I went down 4. So a lot of people have trouble with the negatives and just make silly mistakes and then think they've got no idea and they're completely wrong. So I could have done this. I could have gone minus 1, minus 3. Minus 1, minus 3. Is that minus 4 or negative 4? Okay, second difference. So I'm going to go, what happened when I went from 2 to 0? I went down 2. Doing those differences, 0 take 2 is minus 2. What happened when I went from 0 to minus 2? I went down 2 again. Minus 2 take 0 is minus 2. What happened when I went from minus 2 to minus 4? I went down another 2. I could have done minus 4 subtract minus 2, which would be minus 4 plus 2, which is minus 2. So you can go through all those calculations if you want to. Let's relate that over to here. We now know that C equals 3. We also know that 2A equals minus 2. So A equals minus 1. We also know that A plus B has to equal 2. So A plus B equals 2. So what can we do next? I can replace that A by that minus 1, so minus 1 plus B equals 2. If I add 1 to this side, I add 1 to that side, and I end up with B equals 3. So the equation of this parabola, go back to here, with the A, B and the C. The A goes with the x squared, it's a coefficient of x squared. So this equation is minus 1 of x squared plus B of x plus C, which is 3. So you can just write it as minus x squared plus 3x plus 3. So by the way, the negative means that it's an upside down parabola, which means the parabola is concave down, it's facing downwards. The curve or the cave is facing downwards. It means the parabola will have a max. So what happens now with this one, I've deliberately left out the 0 from up here. So we only have 1, 2, 3 or 4. Very easy to do it in a maths test, and students mess up the question or think they don't know what they're doing. Still need this table, but instead of using these values here, we're going to need these ones over here. The interesting part is this will also be 2A, so there's really another part to the table. That's that part there. Let's have a look. Some people will figure out what 0 is from the pattern and go from there, but let's not do that today. First difference, how do I go from 3 to minus 1? I went down 4. So I could have gone minus 1, minus 3. When I go from minus 1 to minus 3, I went down 2. I could have gone minus 3, minus 1. Minus 3 plus 1, there's the 2 negatives there, make A positive. And then I've got minus 2. And what did I do to go from minus 3 to minus 3? Stayed the same. If I went minus 3, minus 3, we have minus 3, minus 3. 2 negatives always become a plus as long as they're next to each other or they're times or divide. So 2 negatives become a plus if they're next to each other. These 2 negatives don't become a positive because there's something in between. Watch out for the traps, so many people mess it up. So 2 negatives become a positive so long as they are next to each other. So we go minus 3 plus a 3 becomes 0. If you want to think the other way around, the 3 take 3, 0. There's another way of thinking about it. Let's get the second difference. What happened when we went from minus 4 to minus 2? We actually went up 2. So if it was minus 4 degrees and we went to minus 2 degrees, it's actually become warmer. Well, you could do the calculation though as minus 2 minus minus 4. Minus 2 minus minus 4. And I'd have minus 2 plus 4, which is really 4 take 2, but anyway it's 2. So next one, what happened when I go from minus 2 to 0? I went up 2. I could have gone 0 minus minus 2, which is 0 plus 2, which is 2. So let's have a look at what we got now. These three numbers need to match up with these three here. I won't circle them all, it gets too cluttered. Let's start at the 2a. So we know that the 2a has to be 2. That tells us that a is 1. We know that 3a plus the b value, so 3 times the leading coefficient plus the b value for the x, 3a plus b has to be, and where's our values here? Down from the 1 to here. Let's go down from the 1 to there. Just be careful which one you're going down to. So below the 1 and across and down. Below the 1, across and down. So that's got to be minus 4. But we already know that a was 1, so that's 3 times 1 plus b equals minus 4. So that's a 3 plus b. So we can go take 3, and we've got b equals minus 7. Which is nice, we've now got the a and the b. All we need is the c. Go back to the table. Underneath the 1 is the a plus the b plus the c. So a plus the b plus the c has to equal underneath the 1, just the same there, is 3. So a is 1, b is minus 7, and c equals 3. Interesting how formulas force us into doing this, add a negative. Back when you first teach it, I first teach it in year 7, a lot of students get mixed up and don't understand why it happens. So what do we got here? We've got minus 6 plus c equals 3. If I add 6, I add 6, and I get c equals 9. Let's go back to our equation then. The equation for the second one is, here's the equation for the first one. The equation for the second one is, our a value was 1, so I've got a 1x squared. The b was minus 7, so I got minus 7 of the x, and then the c was 9. So there's our equation for the second one. Of course, we don't need to write one there. There's our two equations. Thanks, I hope you've enjoyed it. There'll be more to come.